Hello and welcome, everyone. We have with us this evening the founder of Generation Mindful, Suzanne Tucker. So welcome to our ACLA meeting. Suzanne, it's good to have you here.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you all.
And I'll just share a little bit from your bio so everybody can get an idea who you are. So Suzanne has been a physical therapist, parent educator, and a certified educator of infant massage for more than 25 years. She's a mom of four, the founder of Generation Mindful, which is an international educational products company in more than 120 countries, bringing early emotional learning tools and toys, as well as positive child rearing classes into the mainstream for families and educators. Suzanne believes the most impactful thing we can do as a society is to bring about a more peaceful and compassionate world, is to evolve the way we raise our children, replacing fear and shame with love-centered practices that nurture safety and connection. So I have to admit, I had never heard of a CEIM, a certified educator of infant massage, before. That's a first for me. But congratulations on
Thank
that. I
you.
mean, I can imagine, you're giving massages to little babies, and they must enjoy that.
Well, I have a treat for you then. I think it's slide three.
Okay, all right.
So
We'll look forward to
I'll
that.
tell you a little bit more about how that miracle of life and being with littles in those early days and weeks really impacted my career and actually had me even start the community Generation Mindful. I learned a lot from my own children and from being with little babies, days and weeks old for years and years every week. I learned so much.
Wow. Yeah, I know Bergie's got a 2 week old. I've got a 2 month, I mean, grandchild, right?
Child,
I know she looks
congrats.
young, but anyway.
That's a
And
magical time.
I've got a 2 month old, and I know Bergie's got a bunch more, all different
Oh,
ages, and I've got a few more.
congratulations.
So yeah, looking forward to hearing more about that. I was also kind of amazed that you've got activities in 120 countries. I imagine it's being translated in all these different languages. Is that right?
We are being translated. We're in seven languages. I was invited by the UAE last November to speak
Wow.
about
Yeah.
responsive, positive, love-centered practices. So that was a delight and got to fly there to Dubai and present. So it is definitely spreading. The interest is global.
So your focus is on, I guess, children of all ages, right? From babies up through teens, at least, right? So
Correct.
are your programs more focused on, like, children who are deemed or viewed as having like serious problems, or just kind of general education, or kind of both?
I believe it's every heart, every home, every classroom. And I specialize in connection through the adult. So it's really about opening our hearts to self awareness so that we can create more harmony and peace in relationships. I chose to apply it to birth to about age 10 because I believe that just like we learn to read a book and we learn to count in order to do math, that we deserve early emotional literacy. And if we can get in there and get in there early, we will change the world through the adult. But we want to start with a young, immature, forming nervous system if we can. But that takes reaching the adults because we teach and guide by example. So our community is educating adults, and we do have grandparents coming to our resources. It really is about every generation. It's just that our tools, as you will see, I focus on early emotional literacy, but the work for the adult learner is universal.
Mhm. All right. Well, sounds great. Tell you what, Suzanne, if you'd like, I'll turn it over to you to bring up your slides and to share a little bit about your work from your perspective.
All right, well, here we go. Let me know you can see, and I will share.
Yep, we've got it.
Let's see if we can get the whole
Full screen.
slide. Yeah, the whole screen.
Maybe view, is it?
And
Slideshow. Yeah.
wonderful. All right. Well, so today we are speaking, we'll spend about a half hour talking about the science of connection, truly. We're talking about positive parenting. And our goal is raising caring, resilient, and emotionally healthy children. And we do that by raising ourselves. I really believe in the reparenting of the self and evolving our own personal awareness of self so that we can evolve past reactions and into more responsive relationships. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I hope that this conversation is applicable to everybody listening, whether you have children or not. You are in relationship, and I hope you will find what we're talking about today impactful, because it's about our relationship with ourselves and others. And I love to start with my literally one of my favorite words that I think is really misunderstood, and it's the word mindfulness. I think if you think about it, everyone thinks that they're not very mindful. Everybody thinks that everybody else is much more mindful. When you imagine a mindful person, you think of someone sitting still on top of a mountain with no stress or chaos coming at them. And most families don't resonate with that reality. They feel like they're in a lot of chaos. And so they don't think that they're mindful. But the reality is, mindfulness is accessible to all of us. It's about being present to the moment with joy and ease. And if you can bring that new definition to your families and your faith communities, you will find it will resonate with them, because we really are looking for more joy and ease amidst the chaos of life. And because we're speaking to faith community, we can highlight the idea that when we're in the mind of Christ, when we're in the mindset of love, we are able to drop into the present moment and joy and ease. So the other word that is my favorite is connection. And the word connection actually means a relationship in which a person, thing, or an idea is linked or associated with something else. So what we're talking about is connection with rather than control over. We want to lead and guide children by example, and the word discipline actually comes from the root word disciple. And if you think about a disciple, they are learning by a leader who is modeling the things, Jesus, that we want to learn. So it's very different than spare the rod, spoil the child, which is very misunderstood. That is the idea that somebody was taking a staff and beating the sheep into, or the lambs into cooperation. No, the staff guides. And we in our positive parenting will be doing a lot of guiding. And so I just quickly, you asked about the baby massage. This is what mindful connection looks like. It's so simple. It's our nature. We are designed as human beings to connect. You can see the love. You can see the eye contact. Look at that. Can't even talk, right? And yet babies and adults are doing this right from birth. We are designed to be in relationship and to be, let's see if we can move this on to the next, to be connecting in the little moments. And what I learned working with infants was that we think it's hard, but actually it's how we're designed. We are designed for connection. So if we can surrender to our nature and trust that we will be led, we can find connection even in the hard moments. I think we live in an information age, and people tend to give their power away and look outside themselves rather than inside themselves for that guidance. And so this I share is just such a simple way to remember that mindful connection is available to us in the present moment. We find it in our faith. I share this message with everyone, and whether they know God or not, they know the experience of God in the present moment. They know the feeling of connection and love. Pardon me. So this is me age 3, and I like to share why I care so much. I was raised the fifth of 7 children in a home with much love. Um, really blessed with loving parents, 3 brothers, 3 sisters. And yet I grew up with a mindset that said, if I do good, I am good. If I do bad, I am bad. I grew up with a fixed mindset rather than a growth mindset. A growth mindset says, I am love all the time. If I do good, um, if I do bad, I'm not bad. I'm feeling bad. And I deserve to be guided. And what we do when we teach children through punishment, we teach aversion, we teach fear, and we teach shame. And I embodied a fear of not being enough and a desire for perfectionism and wanting to be cooperative, which it sounds lovely, right? To raise a cooperative natured child, except we give our power away. We give our true power away to have a voice and make a difference in this world. Because sometimes we need to go against the grain. So we want to raise resilient children that are connected to their center, connected to truth and love, not that are obedient at all cost. So we really want to evolve as a society past spanking and punitive timeouts that separate. They say, you bad, you did bad, you are bad, I need you to go away. We already established that we are humans designed for connection. So there's nothing more threatening to a child than to say, you need to go away. So it really, we don't think we're sending messages of shame and fear, but we are. So what we're going to talk about today is embracing emotion and viewing behavior as communication. I grew up in a loving home, but I also didn't really understand the high highs or the low lows of emotion. We were always in the center. And I believe that children deserve to learn the alphabet of emotions in the same way that they learn the alphabet and their numbers. We want to understand our sad and our mad so that we can learn to accept and get curious about those feelings so they can teach us and guide us back to our highest and best selves. So time ins, you can think of them as like time for introspection, going within and being curious. How am I feeling? Why might I be feeling that way? Positive is not punitive, and it is also not permissive. So there are really 4 types of parenting. There's the authoritative, that is power over. There's the permissive, which is, it is respectful, but it is not firm. So it is a disservice to the child. Children need our boundaries. They need our loving limits. So what is in the middle is respectful and firm. And that is what we are talking about today. The 4th type is what we call the mixed bag approach. And that's really hard on kids because they don't know what to expect. Children want predictability. So even a authoritative or authoritarian parent who is controlling and threatening, a child can adapt to that because they know what's coming. A permissive parent, a child can adapt to. But one that is all over the board, one minute this way, 1 minute that, is really the hardest type of discipline model for children to be with. So we're going to strive for this emotionally healthy environment where we strive for connection with rather than control over. And we believe that starts with the emotional alphabet. And we took the brain science of emotional regulation and we made it really simple for even the youngest children. I have children at age 2, 3s, and 4s. I go into preschools and we teach name it. We get our binoculars out and we look all around. And then eventually we look within ourselves. Feel it. We put our hands on our hearts. And we're really understanding that feelings are inside of us. And heal it. Heal it can be hugging yourself or holding hands with others. We heal in our relationships. And we like to do this tangibly, playfully, and through our relationships. There's a lot of science to these facets, but if you're struggling with positive discipline in your home, making it tangible, making it playful, and pulling in your relationships makes it easier. So I like to start with the science and naming it. This is what I wish every person in the world grew up knowing. It's not I am angry. It's I feel angry. It's very different to grow up thinking you are an angry boy or realizing that you're feeling upset. I met a man yesterday, in fact, who was raised with the message that he was an angry boy. He was a violent boy. And he grew up with a lot of hard things around him. He saw the death of his mother at a very young age. He had very challenging circumstances. And a lot of children today are exposed to either big T traumas like divorce, death, different challenges, or little T traumas where we may not even see or know what they're dealing with. We want to be responsive to these children in giving them the skills to be with hard things. And when I spoke with this man, I shared, what if instead of you're an angry boy, you were presented with, you feel angry. Why? I'm here for you and I want to help you. And let's get curious about that anger. He nearly cried. And it would have made such a difference for that man and really for every child to understand you're not an angry child. You have anger and you can learn how to be with it. So
Did you remember?
this is a little one learning for his first time.
Picture?
He's learning his
Okay, so
ABCs of
that's the red
emotions.
bear.
We have these plush animals called snuggle buddies,
Symbolizes.
and they have their feelings inside.
And
They
look
have their
behind. You
happy,
see there's little shapes inside that pouch.
they're sad, they're calm, and they're mad. And the mother is explaining
Okay.
about
Now
emotions.
they
and we
match
have
the same
them,
colors that you have. Remember, what's the green color?
and he's learning how to label.
Calm. And then blue?
Sadness.
Sadness, right? And yellow?
Happiness.
Happiness. And the red?
Anger.
Anger. The other 4 that we can work with. You like your bear?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Which one? You have more?
He says, are there
No,
more?
I don't have more.
So they began their journey with emotions, making it safe for kids to feel. And we can do this with our tots, we can do this with our teens, we can do this with our adult children, and we can learn to do this for ourselves. One of the most profound practices to embrace this is real simple, is singing the song or thinking at night. You can share this over dinner or at bedtime, or you can make it a ritual even in meetings. I do this with my staff. When we greet each other and we begin a meeting, we check in and we share, how are we? And we share, where are we? Am I feeling green, yellow, red, or blue? And it's a wonderful way to deepen relatedness and to get practice at this art of naming, feeling, and healing our emotions. I won't play this now, but this is on our website. It's a song, it's free. It's on Snuggle Buddies page, and families can sing this. And the practice is simply at night at bedtime to share your happy, your sad, your calm, and your mad feeling that you felt today, and to tie it to a memory. When we do that, we nurture the hippocampus in the brain, which is the most susceptible area to stress. It can cause a lot of the adverse childhood experience trauma impact to the brain. And actually, just by remembering and naming, we combat that trauma, and we can create emotional health and well-being just in the very simple practice I just shared with you. Because it's not about hard things not happening to us, it's about having a witness. It's about witnessing what's happening when we experience those hard things. So naming it comes with labeling the emotion and also reflecting on how big or small is the feeling. So you might think about something hard that happened to you this week, and think about if you had have you ever felt triggered where your emotional response was a lot larger than what you thought might be called for in the moment? Maybe somebody said something and you felt triggered. Maybe it was based on something in your childhood. And so becoming aware of our emotional response and how big the feeling is vital to our self-awareness and our ability to actually feel our feelings rather than dismiss or deny our feelings. We know that dismissing, denying, and gaslighting feelings is not leading to emotional health and well-being for our children and our families. So we want to be committed as communities that are supporting families to make it safe. The embarrassment that families feel when their children are making noise at a service is large, because we were raised, if you do good, you are good. Just like little Suzanne right here. If I do bad, I am bad. So you got to understand those parents are feeling those same pressures to raise their children to be good, to be still, to be quiet, to be compliant. And we really want to invite those families to understand that we embrace making it safe to feel. This was a little girl who wouldn't allow her mother to change her diaper. She would not lay down for 2 weeks. They ended up coming to Generation Mindful and embracing the idea of naming the feelings. And after just one time, and this is a video of this little girl saying, "I sad." And the mom says, "Why are you sad?" And she goes, "I don't want a diaper." I mean, she's 2.5, she's barely speaking. And then her mom says, "What do we want to do?" And she says, "Read book." They read a book, she laid down, she had her diaper changed. So after 2 weeks of oppositional behaviors, it was as simple as this child feeling respected and heard. And then she moved past her opposition. And I just think that that's,
feeling. You're
do you guys want to see
sad.
this or not? I'll
Do
show
you know
it
why
to you.
you're sad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you sad? What can we do to calm down? Read a book. Okay, go pick out a book.
Brown bear. And so
Bobby.
I hope that shows how simple sometimes relational connection can be and how powerful and profound. So we're naming it, we're feeling it, and we're healing it. And the idea of healing is the integration that happens. So trauma isn't just what happens to us. I've heard it said it's what happens without an empathic witness. So, if you think about tragedies like 9/11, why did it integrate for some and not for others? Our goal is to help people through hard things. And there is a science to resilience, and it comes back to this emotional intelligence and emotional health. When we have the skills and the support to integrate experiences, they lose the power over us, and it leads to resilience. So this little girl's parents were getting a divorce, and she started to bite her mother. Now, in old school parenting, we would have punished her. We would have shamed her or put her in the other room. In this method, the mother stayed curious. And this little girl says, I can play it for you, but she says, "I notice I want to hit you, Mom. I want to hurt you." And then she goes through each one of the feelings. Instead of hurting her mother or lashing out, she shares. So I'll play this real briefly here.
And what are those things behind him, blue and red and yellow and green?
Our feelings.
So which ones did you share with me a few minutes ago?
All of them. Nervous.
Nervous that you were gonna
Hurt Mom.
hit Mama.
And happy that it was gonna get all done.
The feeling was gonna get all done? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sad that that I might hit Mom.
Uh-huh.
I was angry that I might hit Mom.
Uh-huh.
And so I was gonna hurt her.
Yeah. You were nervous. You said that you might hit me. Then you said you were happy.
That everything would get done.
Yeah, the feelings would get done, you mean?
Yeah, and I love your lion. Heart, J.
Oh.
So there's a little girl who now knows herself to be loving, loved, safe, powerful. And that is the real opportunity for us when we can stay curious instead of furious about behaviors. And this is applicable to teens as well. So I go into schools and talk to middle school teachers because it gets harder. The older our children get, we start to really get reactive to the behavior. But if you can remember that behavior points to an unmet need, so if we can get to the emotion behind the behavior, we can integrate it. We want to get to the emotion and the need, the human need. As children get older, so when they're young, we developed a deck of mantra cards that are powerful statements of truth. And I have to say, because this is a faith community, these literally came to me through just channel, just from God. And it was in response to a mother who had been hitting her child, who had just a miracle revelation that she didn't want to have control over, she wanted connection with. And it came through the mantra, connect before I correct. And she shared with our community the miracle that had happened in her life when she was able to recall those words in a moment where she was triggered and she wanted to lash out at her son. The words came to her mind, and the words said into her heart, connect before you correct. And that divine thought led to a shift in her behaviors. So when I say to you, behaviors and unmet need, I'm speaking about the adult as well. We want to have empathy and compassion for the challenges and the triggers that our adults are dealing with that are leading to the way they are raising their children. And we can begin with tangible, playful, powerful mantras like this in the form of a game. This one right here, I ask for what I want and need. That might seem simple, but this may be very counter to the way that you were raised as a child if you were led to believe, I can't share my wants and my needs. And this is probably one of my favorite messages. Mistakes help me learn and grow. Remember little Suzanne I shared with you at the beginning? She said, if I do good, I am good. If I do bad, I am bad. And that is not going to lead our children to mental, emotional health, or learning and growth. We make mistakes. We are human. We want to learn to ask for forgiveness, to give ourselves forgiveness and compassion, and to extend it to others. If we shame ourselves for learning through error, if we shame children for learning through error, they will not take risks and they will not be fully expressed in this world and sharing the gift of who they are with this world. So all of this, we're getting near the end, comes down to the brain science of connection. You can think about your brain as a stoplight with 3 levels. Neuroscientists call this the triune brain. In fact, when the most fundamentally basic part of the brain, the oldest part of the brain, is called the brain stem. It's that red light, fight, flight, or freeze. That part of the brain doesn't have any potential for even thinking. It doesn't have conscious thought. It doesn't actually have any gray matter in that area. So there's no learning happening. It is all reflexive and reactionary. So if you've ever had a child in front of you that looked like a wild animal, biting, screaming, yelling, or maybe you've ever felt triggered where you felt like you turned into a wild animal, you were likely in your reactive red brain, the brain stem. I like families and children to know about this, and educators, because we want to connect brain to brain. So we don't want to demonize or shame someone who's in a defensive brain. We want to make them feel safe. And some of the easiest ways to help people feel safe are through our eye contact. And remember when I showed you the infant at the beginning? You know how to help people feel safe. You do it with babies. Think about what you do. You pat, you sway, you shush, you use sound, you use music, you use your body to cue. I love you. I know you're sad. I know you're hurting. I know you're struggling. I know you're tired or you're hungry, but I hear and I love you. It's the same with our teens and our adult children and ourselves. So the middle brain is the emotional brain. When children are in the middle brain, they'll be whiny, hyper, emotional, clingy. And this is a very tough part of the brain for parents. But if they can learn to connect with emotion and validate the emotion, not the behavior, Oh, I know it's so hard to wait. You're feeling so tired. Come here, give me hugs. I want to give you a hug. Come here. I see. I got you. That child can move to the green brain instead of reacting and going down to their defensive brain. And the green brain is called the prefrontal cortex. And this is where all the high level executive functioning skills that we want for children, self awareness, impulse control, kindness, compassion, empathy, they live in this part of the brain. And I want everyone to know that our children are developing into this part of the brain well into age 26. It starts about age 3, and it is not done developing till age 26. So my teen parents, they really love to hear that, okay? So just because someone can doesn't mean they have mastery. If you think about it, I know to drink water every day. Do I have mastery over that skill? Well, no. Sadly, it hasn't become a habit for me. I don't drink enough water. So knowing something and doing it are two different things. And I think that's important to remember when we are raising children. We want to make it safe to feel. So raising an emotionally healthy world starts with the basics of the education. Just like we teach the alphabet and we teach the numbers, let's invite our families to have the support of early emotional education in our homes and in our schools. So we can make it safe to feel. We can invite time ins to be our way, which creates space for love and I believe Holy Spirit and the mind of Christ. And miracles show up when we simply show up with our open heart to the present moment. We find connection, and therein we find our joy and the ease that we are looking for. So is it safe to feel? I hope that now you'll say, yes, it is safe to feel. Thank you so much. And now I just love to open it up to questions.
Yeah, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. I know you've got a lot more, but we don't have time to. We got a lot of programs and educational things offered on your website, and we can definitely open it up here. I especially like that I guess that last slide with the what was it? Connection versus stress.
Yeah, the brain science.
Yeah, the brain and how probably there's a lot of parents who are still kind of stuck at a certain level that because they never grew properly, right? A lot of us are like that, right? Different levels. So yeah, a lot to learn there, a lot to unpack.
I
Okay.
will say I have a helpful resource. It's free for all your families. We are committed to accessibility. We want this to be in every home, every heart, every school. So if you go to learn.genmindful.com, we could type that in the chat.
Mhm.
We have a parent hub and we have an educator hub, and these are all free resources. And Alan, you mentioned the brain. I have a beautiful handout called Connecting Brain to Brain, and it will break down the green brain, the yellow brain, and the red brain for you all on one piece of paper, what it looks like and how you can respond instead of react. I could probably spend an hour, I actually have, presenting on just that concept. So I want you to understand this was a little, like you said, this was a little intro into the connection between love and family, the way we're raising our children, and actually the brain science.
Yes. All right, that's great. Anybody would like to ask a question or make a comment? Just kind of hold up your hand, Dr. Pereira.
I have a question. So we have generation mindful and positive parenting. Now, which one came first? Did you first started out with generation mindful and then so there's then this, then therefore positive parenting, or was it the other way?
So thank you. What a great question. So I've been a therapist educator for 30 years, bringing the science of connection to families and classrooms. And so positive parenting is an approach. I didn't come up with it. it's a style of parenting. It's a well-known style of parenting. It's one of 4 types of parenting. I became trained to educate families on this. And what I saw in 2016 was I had that miracle happen with the mom who transitioned from spanking to not. And she was like, what happened? How did I do that? And how do I teach my husband? And how do I teach my kid's teacher? And she pressed on my heart. And I said to her, after decades of doing this work, I had seen that miracle again and again and again. But she said to me, what happened? How did you do that? How did I do that? I want to do it again. And what I heard was a calling. I heard the Lord saying, hey, there's a lot of people out there struggling to connect instead of control their children. Can you help them also? And if you can, how? So I went to the science, and I also just felt led. And the solution was Generation Mindful, which is creating connection instead of control. And it's using tangible, play-based, early emotional education to get us there. I think of it like little training wheels, because I saw families struggling to learn a new way, right? They were learning about positive parenting, but they weren't raised this way, right? So to learn something and only have it in your head is actually can sometimes lead you to feel more shame and less capable, because now you know a lot, but you can't do it, right? Like I know to drink water, but somehow I'm not doing it, right? So like, why am I not doing it? So families were struggling to embody what we were teaching them about the science of connection. So I realized that what made a difference for this mother was that it was right in front of her, so she could remember, connect before I correct. And we did that because we made it very tangible for her. We made these mantras. And so that night when I went home, and she would not let me, she was like, what was that? How did that happen? And I got real curious. And then we just started creating solutions that were born out of the science, but that made it a little bit easier. So what you asked is really positive parenting existed first, and then Generation Mindful was created as a company to make tools and toys and classes that take the science easily and practically into everyday life, is where I saw families were struggling. They were like, that sounds great, but how do I do that? So that's the answer that I attempted to solve by forming my company. And we launched on Kickstarter, and talk about a miracle. It was just me and this little box of cards right here, this little guy. And it's called Peacemakers. And peacemakers, okay? This to me is Holy Spirit. This truly is. And my mother and my priest, they aligned every mantra with scripture. So like before we'd even launched. And so people all over the world were like, oh, that's a good idea. I would like to play a game with my children that helps them become more emotionally intelligent, and that maybe helps us be a more peaceful, mindful family. So this is where it started. And then I just started creating, if you go on the website, this is a children's book I wrote. And the message is, you are love. Yes, it's true. Love, love, love. Love is you. The idea is, if little Suzanne had known, I am love all the time. So it's a journey. What is love? And it's like a little treasure hunt. And Heart's like, what is love and where does it live? And in the end, Heart learns it lives in here. It lives in me. I am love. I embody love, and I can be love, and I can see love in you. So we can teach children, you are love all the time. You are love. It's your birthright. You're love. Even when they feel sad or mad or have really hard things happen in their lives, even when they lose their way and they get confused and they act out, we can remind them, we can help them remember. You know that word remember? It is to
Yeah.
bring back into our member, our personhood, the love we are, to remember. So we are remembering the love we are, and we're seeing that love in children. And that's how that is. And there's other things if you go on the website. I've always gone direct to the community. I've always gone what's called direct to consumer. And I've been doing this for 7 years. And it's so interesting that, is it Bergie? Did I say that right? That you reached out when you did?
Yes.
Yes, because I've been wanting to give back and connect to faith communities. And my real hope is, how do we reach every child? How do we reach the children of the families? Their mom or dad, maybe they're not coming to my website. They don't want a box of cards. You know, they don't want a book. They don't think about taking a class. Well, those children deserve these tools too. So in fact, some of those kids might need them more than anyone. So we really want to reach children where they are. And I believe we've got to get in the public schools and also work with communities of faith and get emotional literacy in our homes. And I'm even collaborating with the military right now. Because if you think about when you lose a parent to deploy, that is a very disruptive experience, and it threatens your secure attachment as a child. So thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have something? I know. Yes, Takai-san, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, yes, thank you so much. And okay, I don't know how much I understand. I have a very English, some limitation.
And I
But,
talk fast.
Anyway, I grew up family. I'm from Japan, and I was close to my mom, but my father was very strict, and he really don't know how to express. So anyway, so we didn't have, I didn't have a kind of communication, and so here you explain kind of a green, listen, learn, love, and the yellow, whining, emotion, hyper, and the red, fight. And as parents, always, we expect the children listen and, learn from the beginning, right? And
Right.
if whining and emotional, children, they are no good.
Right.
You are not good child. That's we just and we kind of punish or some. And but I always admire that some like you show the video, kind of mother talking to child, why you are you, and talking and open up heart, and wow, I wish I can do something like this, but I'm not that character. Too bad. That's kind of but you explain this is even like through this learning, I can learn and bring to guide to child. I mean, my kids are already old, but someday I hope, grandchildren, I can guide to
Yes.
yellow to green. That's
Yes.
you are learning. That's
Yes.
the opportunity to learn. That's you telling me. That's
Yes, you can. I 100,000% see you learning and loving. I see it all over your face. You've already
but,
you've already brought it in. It makes sense to you. Sometimes when we learn something, we're just being reminded of something that we already know, and something in you says, oh, I really would love that idea of helping a human person through an experience that they're feeling, that I can listen and I can help someone who's feeling deeply.
I know. I liked the way you said, like, even we were already parent, but the reparenting, through opportunity to learn. That's you trying to do, right? Yeah.
It is.
And
I'd love to invite you next month in January. Every January, this will be the 3rd year, we do a free summit. I call it Reparent Yourself. And you can never be too old to start thinking about the little places in you that wanted or needed something when you were little. And I believe that it's multidimensional and we can heal those places, and it does add more love to the world. It's never too late to have an awareness, even if it goes back 60 years or 70 years to when you were little. It will make a difference in the world. Every time we heal and we grow, we add more love and more understanding to the world, and we can make a difference as a neighbor, as a friend, as a grandparent. And that's why I say, when you see my presentation, it may look like I'm talking to children. It may look like I'm talking to toddlers, but there's a little toddler in every one of us. And there's a teenager right here. And there's a 20-something-year-old. And there's an adult child. No matter how old we get, we are never too old to learn about emotional intelligence and to grow. And the beautiful thing about the human brain, neuroscientists, they call it plastic. They call the human brain plastic. They call it neuroplasticity because it can grow and heal and change so well that it is never fully formed and done. It's not like, oh, I'm 80, so it's done. Okay, does that make sense about the brain being plastic? That it's never too late to grow, heal, and learn. The brain is always ready to change and to grow and create new synapses of connection. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Let's give everyone a chance. Well, this has been a wonderful evening of sharing, and I know you have so much. I was wondering if maybe you could just quickly, I don't know if you want to go back to your website, kind of just showing us some of the resources that you have available.
Right.
Yeah,
let me do that. Let me see here. We'll say share desktop. Okay. Let's see here. Make it big. All right, so this is our home page. Let me make that a little bit smaller. Okay, so we're tools, toys, and courses that teach emotional skills. And you can see some of our products featured right here. Books, stickers, posters, plush toys. What we're doing is we're nurturing emotional intelligence. We're doing it playfully. We're following the brain science, and we are involving child psychologists, therapists, educators, myself, parents, and all of the understanding we have about trauma and how we heal. So I always like to start families by embracing something called a time in. We have something called the time in toolkit, and it literally comes to your house guided with everything you need to stop doing punishment and timeouts and spanking and to start doing time ins. And that is probably why it's our most popular item, because it really is guided and you open it up and you're excited to get started, and the child is leaning in. We actually had one child run up to their dad got home from work and said, dad, I did 4 time-ins today. So proud of the learning that he was doing. Have you ever heard of a young child running up to a parent and saying, mommy, I was put in timeout 4 times today, with any sort of pride? Never. Because a timeout is a shameful thing. You are bad and you're being punished. But a time in, you're proud because you're learning about yourself and other people. So time ins, we have the Snuggle Buddies, which I showed you, and you saw the children playing with the Snuggle Buddies to learn how to name and regulate their feelings. And then I really believe in empowerment-based education. Just like we're doing here tonight, we can learn and grow through courses, through shared, and through community. So we offer all of these things, the toolkits, the toys, and the classes. And then you can shop by age. And up here, if you're a school, we have a special page just for you. And like I mentioned, we actually have an educators hub with free resources, and we have a parent hub with free resources. So I hope you'll join me. This is a counselor talking about the difference that the tools are making in the school. She's in a public school, and we have a ton of research about the difference our approach is making. This is a letter we send home to new families so they can understand what's happening. Let's say if you're a daycare center or a preschool or a public school and you want to introduce Generation Mindful, you can send this home to your families to help them understand the approach. And the website has a ton of information. If you look here, you can read about neurodiversity, mindfulness, positive discipline. This is one of my favorite topics, reparenting. Takai, you were asking about this. This is a place you could go on our website to learn about reparenting. And there's strategies for how do I reparent myself? And there's a lot of articles and information about this. And you know, everything is divided here, so you can hopefully go through the blogs or the guides and learn about just exactly what you're wanting to learn about. And then here under About, we have reviews from our community, we have the press, and a little bit about why we do what we do, a little bit about how we started and our values. So that's our website, and there's our courses. We have professional and parent courses. So in schools, a lot of child psychologists are embracing our strategies, and educators. And this is for teens well up into 12th grade. And then there's the parent courses. All of our reparent yourself, positive parenting. And last, if you go here, the village, this is the free learn.genmindful.com right here. You can join us in the village. And that handout that you liked is in here under the family hub. These are all free. Positive discipline videos, activities for children, and mindfulness for adults. So there's the boundaries and the red light brain. So lots to learn from there.
Wow, you have so much content on there. It could take months and years to go through everything, but I guess the thing would be to try to find out what's valuable to you or to your family or to your community, and start.
Exactly. Or just join my newsletter. I like to send you, I do a drip method. So you just open your inbox maybe once a week, and maybe you read one article or just receive the message of the week in your email. That's another way to do it.
But you don't send out an email like every hour like some people do?
We don't. I don't have enough time to do that. I am not Target, unfortunately. I'd love to grow to that, but I am not there.
What's the size of your staff? I'm just curious. Do you have a lot of people working with you, or
We were as large as 12, but of late, post COVID, we are really small but mighty. I will say I have a team of adults with special needs that are in a program here. They pack all of our things and they do all our shipping. So we've employed up to 5 full-time adults with special needs. They're amazing, and we're so happy and proud to work with them. And then I really am a small but mighty team of, I have my one assistant and myself, and then I have writers and creative and marketing talents, but really no other permanent staff. I'd really like, I am bootstrapped. I don't have any investors yet. So if you know anybody, I've really been praying about getting a strategic investor, someone who could really help us grow and get in, like we see doing, getting in all the schools. And I'd like to really get into the military in a bigger way. So, and adoption, foster parenting, there's so much growth potential. So
well, if God is with you, you've got some good staff there.
yeah. Well, God is with us every step. Just you reaching out to me to ask me to come speak to this group is God's hand. And I had a church, a United Methodist church, you, and a group of 60 middle school teachers. So I've been praying about this. All reach out within the last 2 weeks. So
Something's moving.
yeah, we're excited. I'm excited. I feel the movement. So thank you for your interest. And thanks for sharing us with families. It makes a difference.
Thank you. God bless you. I did put the link to the main website in the chat for everyone. But thank you again, and have a good night. God bless, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, blessings. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank
Appreciate
you.
So much.
Bye bye.